Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of TechRise Season 4. We're so glad to have y'all here. My name is Lucy. I'm usually behind the scenes, but I'm a director over here on the founders team at P33 and work really closely with all of these phenomenal TechRise founders you'll see pitch today. We could not be more excited to be kicking off another episode. For anyone unfamiliar, at TechRise, we support Chicagoland's overlooked early stage founders access the capital, networks, and knowledge they need in order to successfully grow their businesses. We launched the initiative in 2021, and every Friday, 6 months out the year, 5 founders take the stage and they deliver a 4-minute pitch to a panel of expert VC judges for the chance to take home $25,000 to $50,000 in non-dilutive grant funding. So far, we've welcomed over 300 founders to the TechRise stage, and since pitching on TechRise, they've gone on to raise over $110 million in follow-on funding, which is actually a 44 times multiple on their pre-TechRise funding. So we're seeing huge impact in the initiative. These founders have also created over 975 new jobs for folks across the Chicagoland region. All right, so I'm excited to kind of get started with what you can expect today. As a reminder of how this works, each of the 4 founders pitching today will have 4 minutes to deliver their pitch, followed by 4 minutes of Q&A with our expert investor judges. And once everybody's pitched, I will have the opportunity to welcome Cody McKee, who's the founder of What's the Word Media, on stage for a fireside chat about his work and what's happening in the landscape, while the judges have the tough job of deliberating a winner of today's $25,000 prize. So without further ado, I'm excited to get into it. Let's welcome today's phenomenal judging panel. So first, I'll introduce Ashley Reed, who's the principal and director of platform at Union Heritage. At Union Heritage, she sources, invests in, and supports portfolio companies and leads the firm's operations and platform development. Prior to joining Union Heritage, Ashley worked at the Female Founders Fund, a seed stage ventures fund that invests exclusively in female-founded companies, Copor Capital, a seed stage fund that invests in startups that close gaps of access and expand economic opportunity, and Bain & Company Management Consulting in the social and public sector practice. Ashley is passionate about removing inequities and increasing diversity in the VC and tech ecosystems. Previously, she spent her early career working at a variety of marketing and strategy teams at Google and Meta, Facebook in San Francisco. She holds an MBA from Harvard Business School and BA in politics, philosophy, and economics from Spelman College. Ashley, thank you for being here. All right, next I'm going to introduce Andrew Kahn, head of Crush Ventures at Crush Music. Andrew leads Crush Ventures, an early-stage venture firm founded by Crush Music. Crush Music manages the careers of iconic pop and rock talent like Miley Cyrus, Green Day, Sia, Lorde, and Fall Out Boy. Crush Ventures invests in the future of entertainment, specifically in founders building brands and technology that will change how culture is created and consumed in the future. Crush has offices in LA and New York City. Thanks, Andrew. All right, and then lastly, let's welcome our third judge to the stage, Deek Velagandula, principal at Waverly Capital. Deek is an LA-based principal at Waverly Capital, a media, sports, entertainment-focused VC firm whose prior investments include Roku, Headspace, The Athletic, Fubo TV, Matterport, and others. Prior to joining Waverly, he was an investor at Corazon Capital, a Chicago-based firm, a Chicago-based firm focused on consumer technology, marketplace, and media businesses. Deek also spent a number of years at Live Nation Entertainment, first building out the company's digital media and content business, then within the corporate strategy and M&A groups. Prior to joining Live Nation, he started his career as a consultant at Bain & Company, working with a number of Fortune 500 corporations and private equity funds on strategy, operations, and M&A diligence. Deek earned a Bachelor of Arts in Economics from Northwestern and also earned an MBA from U Chicago Booth School of Business. Let's welcome all 3 of our judges. Thank you so much for being here. And with that, I would love to welcome our first startup today to the stage. So Manuel with TrueFiktion, the floor is yours. Judges, I'll ask you to please go off camera while Steph pitches.
Can you see my screen?
All right, Steph, we can see your screen. Give me 1 second to get your timer pulled up. And once you kick off, I am good to go.
Awesome. Social studies teachers are struggling to support their students' growth, and they want to increase their teaching practice and they want to nurture their students, but often they don't have reliable resources that allow them to talk about complex topics and teach critical thinking skills. 62% of social studies say that supplemental content online is probably not worth using. And 50% of social studies teachers say that most of the content that they're given from their districts should be replaced or lack quality. And I'm Stephane Manuel. I'm the founder of TrueFiktion, and we're an education company that uses comic books to teach history. We create original historical fiction comic books from the perspective of historically marginalized groups. We provide professional development and curricula, and we provide co-design resources with schools. The way our service works is that we create, through a series of workshops, create custom local history comic books for school districts. And we also provide them bundles of our other comic books, which we generally price at $40,000, where you get a profit of $18,000. And then after that, in the following year, the school district can move into an annual subscription on some of our other products, or they can continue to make custom comic books with us. We are focusing on the supplemental social studies market. The overall K-12 market for content and material is $13 billion. The K-12 supplement market is $4 billion, and we focus on the $242 million social studies supplement market. Our target market is really focusing on 270 school districts that have a population between 4,000 and 200,000 students in 13 states that represent $11 million annual opportunity for us. We acquire customers through conferences, partnerships, and word of mouth. And during our first education conference, it cost us $4,000 to attend. We got 100 leads. We got 100 of those leads, 3 of them to proposals. And within 3 months of that conference, we closed a $40,000 deal with City of Syracuse School District. And we work with partnership grants between the National Archives and local universities, where we take archival material and we turn them into comic books. And they take those comic books and they donate them to local schools in their community. That's resulted in a $25,000 deal with the University of New Orleans, where they donated $7,000 worth of comic books to the community, which then in turn led to another $25,000 deal with another university. Our competitive advantage is that we design really engaging comic book learning experiences for students. And most publishers, edtech companies, they don't really do comic books, they don't do custom content, and they don't do content that's culturally responsive and locally relevant. And when we say our content is really amazing, this is the type of content that we provide that is the front door for learning for students in history, that really allows them to drive their own critical thinking. We are on track to generate $130,000 in total revenue, and we have 15 comic books in our production pipeline. We've been backed by New Schools Venture Fund with 2 non-dilutive investments, one in 2022 and one in 2023. And yesterday, it was announced that we'll be joining Camelback Ventures as part of the education fellowship. With the $25,000 from TechRise, it will allow us to conduct usability and feasibility testing for our Figma prototype for our personalized learning application. I am a U.S. Army veteran with 2 deployments to Afghanistan with multiple Bronze Stars, and also spent some time working in special operations community. I also have an MBA from Kellogg and a master's in human-centered design. I built an amazing team of creatives and educators and marketers to really take our company to the next level. We are going to be the first personalized learning platform that doesn't pretend like your identity, your culture, and your history doesn't matter. Please join us in building a world where every student sees themselves meaningfully represented in their learning experiences. Thank you.
All right. Awesome job, Steph, and right on time. Judges, can I invite you back to the stage, please? Awesome. All right. And I'm going to kick it off with a question from Ashley.
Thank you so much for pitching. Loved hearing about your business. I was an avid social studies kid, so love that. Curious, as you scale and go into more schools, how scalable the custom content model is. How are you going to streamline that and be able to provide custom content versus already having like a repository of content that people can leverage in their social studies classes?
Yeah, so within our production portfolio, only 20% of our pipeline is custom and 80% is actual content that we actually develop. When we do a custom content deal, we actually do a scope and sequence audit. So we actually know all the holes in a district in a district's scope and sequence and curriculum. And as we do more deals, we actually aggregate all the data. And that data from working with multiple districts, then we'll just pick and choose to make stories that will meet the needs of multiple customers at the same time.
Thank you.
Awesome. Andrew?
Yeah, my question, can I ask two?
Sure.
Okay. One is just on the ownership of the IP. Who owns it and how are the creators compensated? And the second one is really about kind of the future of Gen AI in comics creation, and how are you thinking about a future where learning can be iterative and comics can be created on the fly?
To your first question, we own the IP rights, and we generally renegotiate a specific license with each school district. Most of our contracts, all of our contracts are done on a work for hire basis, and we pay Marvel and DC rates to our artists that we work with. For your question about, really the future of comic books and the future of creating comic books on the fly. The technical term for comic books is something called sequential art. It's a deliberate juxtaposition of images and text to convey information. Comic books are inference-based meaning mechanisms. So often when you use generative AI, you actually only make one image, but the ability to actually connect them in ways that allow human brains to actually understand inference and make meaning, generative AI hasn't really done that. And one of the problems is that generative AI doesn't do a good job of making scenes that are thematic. So you may have one picture that looks one black person in one picture, and then you do it again, it's a different type of black person. When the human brain reads it, it stops the suspension of disbelief. So then it's not an engaging learning platform. So, for us, like, they'll be able to make a lot of content, but whether it's a continually engaging experience, I haven't seen any company I haven't seen the content be able to do that yet.
All right. Thank you. And Deek.
Thanks, Stephane. Well, I think the art is beautiful, and it's clear you put a lot of work into this content. I'm curious, sort of, how did you decide to go through the go-to-market of selling into schools, which often has connotations of having long sales cycles and being expensive and high touch, versus going direct to consumer or working with a publisher or selling directly through a webtoon or online type platform?
Yeah, so when we first started, we were an entertainment company and we wanted to go direct to consumer. But when we made a decision to actually be an education company, and we think the true value in what we're building is truly personalized learning. So when we talk about building comic books that are for education, when we're writing a comic book, we actually have learning standards that are aligned to each individual page. So that when we see in the future, as we collect data on people reading apps over time, we can actually collect data on how they actually make inferences based on different types of images. And every human being actually reads a comic book differently.
Okay.
So over time, we could actually present personalized learning platform.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Just to stay fair, that was phenomenal buzzer beater. All right, I'm going to ask everybody here to please turn your cameras off. And next to the stage, I'm going to invite Julian Lozano with GhostWriter. Julian, I will let you know when we are ready to go. All right, whenever you're ready.
All right, so today I'll be presenting to you GhostWriter, generative AI for songwriters. Did you know that 52% of US households have at least one person who is a musician, whereas 82% of non-musicians wish they had learned to make music? And as I'm sure you've noticed, everybody and their mother wants to be a rapper these days. Let's take a look at Lil So-and-so. Just like you may have, he sings in the shower and has fantasies of performing in front of large adoring crowds, singing every word. And just like you may have, he sits down to write something and then crickets. He stares at the empty screen. The vibe is officially killed. He's experiencing the ubiquitous phenomenon known as writer's block, because it's quite a shock when you can't find the words to get your mind unlocked. It's time to rock, but you can't find the lines to talk, and you're in the studio session on your own dime. The clock is ticking. So now you have GhostWriter, the AI songwriting assistant. Let me show you how it works right this instant. So as you can see, we have the lyrics that I've just performed in the app here. We can generate stuff to continue the lyrics, or in another mode, we can generate by topic. So now you have GhostWriter, the AI songwriting assistant. Let me show you how it works right this instant. Feeling like a king, got a throne so consistent. Watch me transform, got the flow so insistent. Keep it raw, keep it real, no resistant. Got the vibe so tight, no misprints. So those lyrics were just generated by our app, and we'll move on to the next where you can actually generate deep fake singing vocals, as you can see in a key that you choose. However, for this, we're just gonna show you some rapping.
But now you have GhostWriter, the songwriting AI assistant. Now let me show you how it works right this instant.
That guy sounds familiar. So I know this is entertaining and all, but what about the money? Well, global generative AI and music market was $294 million in 2023 and is expected to grow by $255.8 billion by 2033. Our target market is professional and aspiring musicians of all ages. So our business model is actually a two-tiered model where you pay $9.99 for one tier, and for the more expensive tier, you get a better model. And it's working. Over the last 12 months, we put our money where our mouth is, and we're doing 85K in revenue over the last 12 months, and we're currently at 7K MRR. We mostly acquire our customers through Google and YouTube ads, and of course, word of mouth. Now, let's talk about our competitors. So we both generate lyrics, but you know, that's the basics. We do multi-syllable rhymes, and we know they can't relate, and they ain't even got no singing in their situation. They're only on web. We're a mobile application. And mobile is key since many artists pace around a studio, phone in hand, writing verses, you know, to while a beat plays out aloud. And this is a situation that I've been in many times. We're the perfect team to build this. I'm a rapper and a producer who became a software engineer and not the other way around. I've opened for Migos, Post Malone, Lil Yachty, Young Thug, and as a producer, I know how to curate vibes. My co-founder is a serial entrepreneur who's able to keep a hyper-creative artist type like myself grounded. He was part of the founding team at AHA, which scaled to 100 million MRR. So with your investment, we'll invest in ads, marketing, R&D with 25K that we can spend, because as you've seen with Kendrick's resurgence lately, lyrics matter again. Thank you.
All right. Awesome job. Thank you so much, Julian. Judges, can I invite you back to the stage? And for this round of Q&A, we're going to kick things off with Deek.
Thanks a lot, Julian. One question I like to ask all the Gen AI companies I'm meeting, particularly ones that are vertical focused or use case focused, is how do you think about this as a feature within a larger platform versus standalone company long term? And when I ask this, I'm thinking about platforms where people are already making music. And so, yeah, I'd love to hear your feedback.
Yeah, I've actually thought about this. So, you know, so all of our stuff under the hood, like our vocal generation and all of that, where you can actually choose it, that is bespoke. So that is not out of the box. You know, we actually had to do, oh, am I still on?
You're good.
Okay, yeah, for some reason it moved out of screen. But yeah, that is actually something that we did R&D for, and you know, something that other companies don't just have out of the box, like plug and play with an API. And also our lyrics, you know, I've thought about many things, like if we were to do B2B with this, how can we sell these different components to different companies? Or we could build another product ourselves. Like something I had in mind was we could go to VR and actually have AI agents that you speak to with natural language, kind of like you would speak to a producer in a studio, like, hey, you know, I'm thinking, give me, you know, a trap beat, 92 BPM in A minor. And then the agent will actually generate all that for you. Okay, now give me some lyrics about this, and then you'll hear the vocals. So yes, I have thought about using this in a different, using the engine for this in a different, as part of a larger feature set.
Awesome, thank you. Andrew?
I'm going to go two-parter again. The first is just want to know what data you're training on, and there's about to be a big lawsuit against Suno and Udio. So is this ethically trained? And the other question, sorry, I know this is super annoying, but I spent a lot of time thinking about this in my day job. Can you finish a song that's been started?
Yeah, so absolutely. So on the first part, is it ethically trained? Yes, I've spent so much money paying artists to actually use their voice to train the models, both the text-to-speech models and the voice-to-voice models. So we will basically do a kind of a work for hire contract where we will license their voice for X amount of years. And then, if for whatever reason they can re-up after the 2 years or whatever it is that we've licensed their voice for is up. I was an artist myself before I was a developer, so I understand how important it is to not be evil. So on the second question, yes. So lyrics, you can finish a song that's already been started. So as you saw in the demo, the lyrics were already in there, and I pressed generate to continue those lyrics.
Can you do it with me singing though? Like if I was rapping and I rapped a verse, would you continue a rap in my voice? I guess you could do that, or at some point?
Yeah, at some point. There's a lot of progress being made in that field. I think they're calling that in painting, where you're able to actually, continue an audio generation. So that is something I'm very interested in, and I think that's where we're going to see things heading. People will want to be able to edit a word inside of the voices, inside of the vocals that they've generated. So on the roadmap.
Awesome. And I'm going to make sure Ashley gets time for a question.
Yeah, love the product. I think my question, it would somewhat depend on if you're targeting more novices versus like professionals, experts, but how are you really avoiding plagiarism and repetitive like sound, tones, voice? And then the larger question, like, how do you think this will really impact, like, culturally, like, the uniqueness and creativity of music? Just curious if you're able to just put in and have this kind of develop your rap, your beat, all of that for you. Like, how are people actually able to be unique and be creative?
Okay, and Julian, I'm going to give you 20 seconds, and then you can follow up in the chat with whatever you don't get.
So I think it's kind of like auto-tune. You can abuse it. You can use it on everything and hide the fact that you can't sing, or you can use it as a tool to augment yourself. So you could have this thing write you the whole song, or you can plug in lyrics that you already have and just use it when you get stuck. And that's the way I've designed it, so people have the IKEA effect, like you have built this yourself. There's more satisfaction when you're involved in the process versus just doing it all for yourself. But I hope that answers your question.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, judges. Thank you, Julian. Phenomenal job. And I'm going to ask us to please welcome Lea Cwik of Hubub to the stage.
All right. Hello, guys. Can you see me?
We can see you. We cannot yet see your slides.
Sorry. Get that.
All right. Ready when you are.
I don't think I see the timer.
Sorry, it'll flash up once you start.
It will flash up. Okay. All right. Cool. Hubub, transforming client entertainment. This is Sarah. She's a top performing sales executive that brings millions of dollars of revenue to her company every year. And building relationship with clients through outing are key to her success. She arrives in a bustling city she's never been before, with the clock ticking to impress a crucial client. Her day becomes a whirlwind of juggling multiple apps for reservation, event ticket, and rideshare. The stress is mounting and her focus is fractured. She's desperate to make everything perfect. Her worry isn't just about the client experience, but it's also her own sanity on the line. Here's the problem. Sarah is a sales executive, not an event planner. Her story is too common among business professionals. They are burdened by fragmented processes, switching between multiple apps just to get an outing with client planned out, entering expenses manually, trying to stay within the company expense policy, updating CRM system, and dealing with missed reimbursement adds to their frustration. And then they add the unreliable reviews that leads to poor client experience. It is chaotic, overwhelming, inefficient, and time-consuming. But then Sarah remembers she has the Hubub app right on her phone. And within a fraction of seconds, she's able to book a restaurant, secure some sport ticket, arrange transportation, and invite her client all within the Hubub app. She's then able to finish her work and knowing that her expense reporting will be automated after she pays for each activity. Hubub transforms her stress into efficiency and lets her focus on what truly matters, bonding with her client. So how it works. Hubub combines reservation, ticketing, transportation, expense reporting, and CRM update into one platform. It automates tracking, categorization, calendaring, offers personalized recommendation and exclusive deals, a reward system for retention, a referral incentive for growth, and verified reviews for service quality. Our market size. Business spend approximately $22 billion per year on client entertainment. Hubub targets 2 million professionals in major metro area, offering a significant market opportunity. Our go-to-market strategy includes channel partnership with corporate travel applications, CRM and expense tools, credit cards, CBVs, traditional B2B SaaS sales, and a referral reward program to incentivize and retain users while fostering viral growth. As of today, we have designed and built iOS and Android beta. We have acquired 500 beta users. We have recruited 7-person founding team and a 5-person advisory board. Unlike our competitor offering partial solution, Hubub provides a complete solution for business client entertainment. We project 4 streams of revenue: seat license for B2B customer, CRM and expense reporting integration fees, subscription fees for brand, and transaction fees, aiming for $100 million ARR in 5 years. Our team has over 60 plus years of combined experience in enterprise SaaS sales, software product development, executive support in Fortune 500 companies, and we do understand the challenge and are determined to solve the problem in client entertainment. As today, we are asking for $25K to get us to our first enterprise customer. With Hubub, Sarah is 25% more productive, and she's looking for even more now to take her client out. So join us in building stronger relationship, because with Hubub, life is better together. Thank you.
Awesome. Great job. And judges, can I ask you to come back to the stage, and then Lea will ask you to unshare your screen, please. Awesome. Okay, and let's kick it off with Ashley this time.
Oh, back to me. Okay, so my question is around how would you convince people to stay within your app versus using it to maybe plan and then just go back outside of app for the existing ones they already use?
So we do have a reward program, like I mentioned, so where user will be earning points, and those points will be transferable like to family and friends. So even outside work, they could just they will be able to use those points, and that would be I guess a mechanic we can use for retention.
Thanks.
Steve?
Thanks, Lea. Is there an economic benefit here to the enterprise you're actually selling into? Or is this kind of an additional cost or SaaS layer they have to add on top of everything else they're paying for?
I believe, time is everything, right? It saves time and, and kind of like reduce stress. Like I mentioned, one of our co-founder, myself, has been supporting executive, and I know the time we spend and they spend in planning those type of outings. So it will save them tons of time so they can focus on what truly matters, which is work, right?
Great. And then Andrew?
Yeah, where are you getting the data, and how do you complete bookings? And do you have an idea about how to do bespoke or unique experiences that are hard to access?
So in terms of data, we're going to be pulling inventory from API. For example, with restaurant, we're going to have open table, transportation, we'll use Uber. So there's partnership with, certain applications that are already available. So I'm sorry, and what was your second question?
Just about bespoke experiences. So what if it wasn't something that you could get from the OpenTable API or the Ticketmaster API?
So right now we are leveraging AI to improve recommendation using data. One of our primary investigators, we actually have applied for SBRI grant where one of our primary investigator is part of advisory board. That's Dr. Chen. And we hope with that, the AI will help provide and make those recommendations and even, like provide some exclusive deals to users. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. And we actually have time for another. Ashley, Deek, do y'all have another question?
Sure, I'll jump in. What do you think is going to be your sort of initial wedge or use case when you sell into an enterprise? Just putting myself in the shoes of a mid to large scale enterprise, it's going to be hard for them to believe you will be better or equal in quality at everything you're trying to do. So what's your initial wedge or use case you're going to be selling in with?
Absolutely. So as Chief Revenue Officer that's part of our team has about 27 years of experience in enterprise direct sales, and he has a huge Rolodex, and we could leverage him to make those introductions, make those connections. Yeah.
Right, and believe it or not, we have time for one more quick exchange. All right, if there's no other questions, then Lea, do you have anything you want to leave us with?
Perhaps, yeah, like I mentioned, the SBR grant, which is a big deal for us. We're very excited about that, and incorporating that research aspect where we could use data to, I guess, provide a much more better experience for our users. So that's the only thing I have.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Thanks to our judges. And with that, I would love to invite a winner. So I'm going to go ahead and open that breakout room. And as they go off for that, I am very excited to welcome to the stage Cody McKee. Cody, hello. Cody is joining us today as the founder of What's the Word Media. And I'm quickly, as you're getting ready, going to read through your bio and then excited to dive into it. But as said, Cody is the creator of What's the World Media, WTW, a digital platform that reports on news, arts, and culture. WTW specializes in covering music, sports, and political trends through literature and creative visuals, with a particular focus on the niche Chicago hip-hop culture. What the World Media is Chicago's #1 source for hip-hop culture, known for its commitment to reporting on news, art, and culture with a particular focus on niche Chicago hip-hop culture. The platform boasts a monthly average of 50,000 unique visitors, offering a blend of insightful content and vibrant community engagement. Under Cody's leadership, WTW has seen a significant increase in followers by 100%, thanks to his expertise in youth mentoring, digital marketing, and event curation. Cody coordinates the creation of digital content aligned with company goals, ensuring the platform remains a dynamic and influential voice in Chicago's hip-hop scene. Cody, thank you so much for making the time to join us today. We are very excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to TechRise. So I'm curious, to start, you're in a room filled with founders. Can you share with us a little bit about the story of the founding of What the Word Media is and kind of what motivated you to have this very niche Chicago hip hop focus?
So the platform, What's the Word, was founded on the College of Southern Illinois University campus down in Carbondale. As a college student, just wanted to give people with a voice a platform. The people that didn't have a voice on the platform. And then once I graduated, I brought it here to Chicago because I felt like Chicago didn't have a voice when it came down to mainstream hip hop culture. Like if you wanted to report or be a part of a big hip hop media platform, you either had to go to the West Coast or the East Coast, and which left a void here in the Chicago and just in the Midwest market. So that was the purpose, and just founding this platform over 10 years ago and getting it to where it is now.
Great, thank you. And so speaking of getting it to where it is now, and this 100% increase that I just read about in your current $50,000 unique monthly visitors, what strategies, how are you building that audience, and how are you kind of amplifying this story of what's going on in Chicago?
So to start with the following, right? So I would say when people say what's the word, they say it was founded in 2011, and people will say, well, that'll be my math is off this one. That'll be 13 years, I want to say. We've been around. The brand has been around for 13 years, but I always say this current model we've been doing for the last 3, right? So probably 4 since the pandemic started, right? And switching that business model, we was able to increase our following on social media, like literally by 100%. We went from 6,000 on Instagram, 1,000 on Facebook, and ultimately nothing on TikTok to now north of 50K on TikTok, 130 on Facebook. Instagram, we had 85,000. And then with our website, we had 0 traction on our website. And now we got, like I say, 50,000 monthly users on our website. Our community has grown so much to the point where we get over 5 million social media impressions on our content a month. So I would say the strategic how do we got there is just understanding your community, understanding what your people like, understanding what they react to. And the last presentation I saw, we talked about data. Understanding your consumer data is very important. Like, so it's not what you like all the time. You gotta understand what they like. And if you can report on the things they like and present them content that they like, that's how you get your engagement.
Right. That's great. And that's where I was going next is, yeah, do you have any advice for the founders in the room, based on how you can make use of data to drive that, just further following? Are there any kind of key unlock strategies? Obviously, you got your own secret sauce, but what would you share with the entrepreneurs in the room?
I would say study, like just study. Like I would say study your consumers, like study the people around you and understand everybody is not the same. You can't market to everybody the same. So outside of I say study, be intentional. But I think that was probably the biggest thing with our growth. And once we was intentional with who we were trying to reach, and then we studied and learned what's the best way, how to reach them. That actually helps us. That helped us a lot. So I would say be intentional. If I can give y'all any gem, like be intentional. You just can't go out there and look for everybody. Know who exactly are you looking to target.
Yeah, and I guess kind of aligned with that, when it comes to various trends in music, sports, politics, how do you decide which ones to cover to hit those different kind of buckets of audience, and kind of map your content?
So it's a team of us, right? So it's a team that we talk constantly. Like we all are our target audience. We're in that. So if you find it interesting and if it's something that you're passionate about, it's a group of people out there that's probably passionate about it as well. Or if it's a question that you need the answer to, it's probably people that want the answer to that question as well. So I think we start there. So we just start with just things that we would want to know or things that interest us as a team and as a group. And then we just present it to our audience and see how they like it.
Cool, thank you. And I was doing kind of some research online, and I was reading a little bit about the 2024 roster that y'all are working with, and all of the folks who are engaged in what you're doing and are kind of building their own brands. So can you explain a little bit more about kind of how you recruit creatives to join the work you're doing and how folks can get tapped in?
The recruiting process, well, how I do it now, a lot of more people come to me now. They come to us now opposed to us going to get them. But I would say like this. What we do is we treat our team like an actual team. Like I was an athlete. I still consider myself an athlete. I play sports my whole entire life. So I treat it like a sports team, some people gonna come to you, but sometimes you gotta go recruit, you gotta go scout, you gotta go to I like to call it the draft. Like you gotta go in the draft and see prospects and see how they working with other companies or see what they like, football season, everybody that plays sports, like before you get drafted, they talking to the people around you, other people that work with you. Like you really getting your information good down pat on a player's profile before you bring them to your team. So that's what I like to do. It's like, you know, And then just work ethic. Like everybody, you don't just get hired. I put everybody through a training camp. So you get 30 to 60 days. And within that 30 to 60 days, we get to see if you are fit for us. And you also, I tell people, like, you get to see if we are fit for you, for how you are, like the way we communicate, the way we operate our system. Is it something that you want to do? So it's not like you wasn't working out, so we letting you go. It could be a situation where we was not working out and fitting your energy and fit what you're doing. So you get a chance to be like, you know what, this is not for me. We can figure out another way we can work. So that's how my recruitment process goes.
Cool. And so, one question I have is, at TechRise and at P33, we are very, dedicated to telling this story of Chicago as a leading tech forward city. And, I think very similar to in the technology industry, initially folks' minds often go to the coasts when they think about kind of what are the big heavy hitters. So can you explain a little bit in the creative space, how do you kind of balance a focus on Chicago and local, but then also telling this narrative of Chicago for a broader audience? How do you think of that?
For one, by me being from Chicago, I feel like it's easier to tell the Chicago story because, like I say, like I am my target audience, so I know, like embedded in the Chicago culture. So even the way what's the word, like what's the word is a Chicago language, so that's how we talk. So everybody already, it makes the community feel at home now that it's a platform that doesn't say it's not Chicago's not in the name, but it's in the DNA. So we can start there. But I think it's not really a real challenge. The thing is to keep the balance. I don't want us to be too local heavy because the goal is to be a national publication and have a national voice. So with my team, what we do is we kind of like segment it, right? So we make sure that when we cover Chicago, the way we cover it is different from any other outlet. So other outlets is just gonna cover Chicago as a broad or famous people they do. We like to connect with people like yourself, like a TechRise or local non-for-profit community leaders, people that in the national voice they wouldn't know. So we like to amplify their voices and people that's doing the work in Chicago and amplify their voices. So we start there. And then also, like I said, to the local community, we like to give them start communications on things that happen nationally. So when other blogs or other publications post something about celebrity news or hip hop or fashion or music, we like to put a twist on it to the point where when our audience gets it, it's not what they're seeing everywhere else. So I hope that answered your question.
No, that's great. Thank you. And I guess speaking to how you kind of put your own spin on things, I'm curious, is there kind of a particular piece of content or a particular campaign that you would highlight as something that you're kind of especially proud of, and why is that significant for the platform, for What the Word?
So I will highlight two things. So I think our annual Chicago Artist to Watch list is probably one of the things I'm most proud of with the platform. Because since 2028, 2018, we've been highlighting artists that a lot of people didn't know. And within that, we was able to give artists like a friend of mine, like Juice World, like we was able to get him his first look, to the masses. And at this time, no one knew who he was. So like we was able to get people like that, and a lot of artists throughout the years, from Taylor Bennett, to Polo G, like any of these names in the hip hop space, if it's rap, drill, R&B, a lot of these singers and a lot of these acts. Even we had a few rock bands make it a few years for our Chicago Artists to Watch list. So that was dope for us. So I think that's the thing I'm most proud of, especially now in 2024, the list and how the content that we creating around the list, like we about to actually release next week, is pretty dope. So I think that's the one thing I'm proud of. And then the second thing is our new show that we just launched. It comes, What's the Word Live. We do it every Wednesday at 1 p.m. And this is for us to really people to know outside of the blogging and writing, we're actually giving our opinions and our perspective on things that happen in the culture. And we're also giving other journalists, local voices, a chance to amplify their voice. And that's in sports, politics, just giving and just having these good conversations to help push the culture forward. So those two pieces of content would be things I'm more happy of.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, I'm going to put out a shameless plug that if you want to start to feature media and entertainment startups in that show, I'm sure some of the folks on the call right now would be interested in joining you. But I'm curious, so, related to that up next week's content drop and the Wednesday 1 p.m. show, how can folks plug in? How can anyone tuning in right now, kind of get involved and become one of your audience members?
Just follow us on social media. The hashtag is the handle was at What's the Word TV on all social media. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch. Our emailing list. Subscribe to our emailing list because we do offer a lot of exclusive access to a lot of things that you don't get on just on social media. So anybody that's subscribed to our newsletter, they can get like coupons and coupons on like special advertising. Right now we're giving away tickets to Vegan Dale this weekend if you're in Chicago. So like subscribe to us on all platforms and just stay tapped into what we got going on.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. And, so that's what's happening currently. I'm curious, as you do think about the future and, the way that the current landscape is evolving, I'm curious how you see the intersection of hip hop culture and then this whole digital media space. Kind of what are you looking forward to coming up? What are some maybe new technologies or new trends that you've noticed that you're excited to kind of see how they evolve in the next few years?
I'm really getting into the space because studying the music industry itself, I'm seeing that a lot of the people are getting out of it, because it's coming harder and harder for artists to actually monetize their music, with streaming. But I also understand that tech plays a huge part in that. So just studying the way tech is going, how can we get back to things being like physical sales? So I'm studying that part of it. Then I'm also understanding the media part of it because a lot of publications are losing because of AI. A lot of publications are not getting as much traffic to their website because Google did a new update back in October. I want to say October or September of last year, which kind of like stopped the searches from a lot of publications getting that traction. So I've also been thinking of different ways that we can connect directly to our consumer using tech to eliminate the issues that we're having with SEO and like Google searches and things like that. So that's what my mind has been at. Like since I already got like this newsletter, I talk to people in my community like directly, like how can we get them on the same text frequency, like some type of app that can help out everybody. So that's what I've been thinking about.
All right, cool. All right, and I have a feeling our judges are going to be back in about a minute, but I guess one last learning I would love to hear from your experience on is, you're clearly out there via a lot of different platforms and, you have a lot of different kind of methods of communication going around. How do you maintain a kind of consistent brand identity across all of those?
Ooh, how do you maintain a consistent brand identity? I just think just being authentic on everything you do. And I don't like saying followers, I say community because when you have a community, no one in the community is the same. So no one on my staff is the same. Like for my writers, for my content contributors, to the hosts, to the videographers, they all going to see things different. They all going to shoot things different. The things they blog about is going to be different. So people know when they come into our platform, they're not getting one voice. They're getting multiple voices from people that's in the community. So it doesn't feel like this platform is for only one type of person, So they get that throughout all our content. So just being authentic, just to sum it all up, just being authentic, just knowing the community is filled with different people that has your best interests when we release the content.
All right. Well, Cody, thank you so much for giving us your time. Thank you for your authenticity. We are very excited to have you in our TechRise network. And I see that our judges are back. So founders, I'm going to ask y'all to turn your cameras on. And as you're doing so, I do want to give a reminder to our audience that right now we're going to announce both our winner and runner-up. reason runner-up is significant is because that person also gets to participate in the People's Choice voting process for the chance to pitch for $100,000 at our year-end in-person finale competition in November. So we're going to hear who the runner-up was today, and then who the winner is of the $25,000 prize. And judges, I'm curious who is doing the announcement today.
That is me.
All right, then go for it.
Right. Lucy, well, thank you for putting this together, and thank you to all our founders today. Really enjoyed hearing all your big visions and unique markets that you're going after. So thanks for spending the time with us this morning. After a little bit of deliberation, we determined our runner-up is Anj with Rivet. And our winner today is Manuel with TrueFiktion. Congratulations to both of you. Just to give a high level commentary on why we decided on TrueFiktion today. We just thought there was a really unique and differentiated vision here, one we hadn't seen particularly with many other companies that we meet day to day. It's in a clearly a mission-driven company here. And the bigger piece here is in taking an investment mindset, there's just so much opportunity and routes you can take with this business and utilizing really unique IP. And comic books these days are incredible testing grounds for not just school and educational content, but TV and film content and podcasts and multimedia formats for this business to take. So we're really excited by your vision, your background particularly, and some of the early traction you've had with schools.
All right, y'all. Well, congratulations to everybody. You all did a phenomenal job. Again, now that you are a part of the TechRise network, you are stuck with us for a while, and we are so glad. So thank you everyone so much for coming here today. We will follow up with some last minute details. But everybody have a phenomenal week, and we will see you next week for our Pride-themed TechRise. Thank you so much.